you are an employee with other income such as self-employment income, rental income, foreign income, or if you meet any other criteria for self-assessment tax return, you are required to complete a tax return. And so in this video, I will be walking you through all the steps needed to complete the employment section of your tax return. Many people miss this session because they believe they don't need to complete it because their tax is deducted at source. Today, I'm telling you that if you have other sources of income, such as rental, foreign income, self-employment income, or if you meet any of the criteria for self-assessment tax return, when you are completing your tax return, you need to include the employment section to make your tax return accurate. Otherwise, you are submitting inaccurate tax return to HMRC, and HMRC will send the return back to you for revision. There are few changes for the 2024-2025 tax year, and so please stay with me to the end to catch all those changes to help you complete your own tax return. Remember, this is not a tax advice or any form of advice. If you want a personal tailored advice, please do contact us or speak to your own accountant or tax advisor. It's always important to seek professional advice for clarity, accuracy, and tax saving strategy. Before you complete your entire tax return, you always need to tailor your tax return correctly. And so we have a full video helping you to tailor your tax return, and I'll link it up here and also in the description. Please watch it before you start watching this video. If this is your first time here, my name is Amma, a chartered accountant and a tax professional from AB & Co Accounting and Tax Services. Now follow me for the steps required to complete the employment section of your tax return. Once you tailor all your tax return correctly, it will bring you to this page and you will see that you've entered your details about yourself correctly. It will indicate blue. Tailor your return page 1 will indicate blue. Tailor your return page 2 indicated as entered also. Page 3 will be indicated as entered also. Then it will bring you to employment because you would have stated on the tailor your return page 1 that you were an employee for that tax year, and you would have entered your employer's name. For this demonstration purposes, our employer is HMRC. And so if we want to enter the income for just this employer, you will need to click on change income. Once we click on that, it will open. This will bring you to this screen that says fill in your return. Income from the employer name, remember, is HMRC, so your employer name will show here. Employer name, as I said, you enter it here. You would have entered that already under tailor your return, so it will pre-populate here. Your employer PA reference number will also pre-populate if you have completed the tailor your return correctly. It will pre-populate, but just in case your employer doesn't have a PAYE reference number, which will be very unusual, you enter none so that you continue. Let's proceed. Then you enter total pay that you received from this employer. Remember to use P45 and P60 figures only for the tax year that you are preparing the tax returns for. So pay from the employer, the total pay will be indicated on the P60. Enter this amount here. Then there is a next question that is new for 2024-2025 tax return. If you are due to make any student loan repayment, you need to enter payroll benefits included in your pay from the employer, which affects your student loan repayment. This figure, if you don't know it, you need to ask your employer to give you this figure to show it. HMRC will use this figure to calculate your student loan repayment correctly and accurately. So enter that one here. If it doesn't apply to you, it's showing as optional. Don't enter anything at all. Leave it blank. Then the next item you need to enter is the tax taken off the pay, which will also show on the P60 or P45. You need to enter this there. If you received any tips or other payments that were not taxed through payroll, you need to enter this here. Pension contributions, payment from HMRC. If you open this help about, it says if you received any payment from HMRC because you paid into a net pay pension scheme and you were due a top-up, enter the amount you received in this box. So if you have received any such payment from HMRC, you enter it here. Otherwise, leave it blank because it's optional. The next one is, were you a director for this company, which is the company you work for, the employer. If you are the director, you have to indicate yes. If you're not, indicate no. Is this employment income from inside of payroll working arrangements? If it is, enter yes. If it's not, enter no. Off payroll working arrangements are sometimes called IR35. If you are within the IR35 and you received any payment of such, you have to say yes to be able to enter this amount. This is a place that you may need a professional to guide you, and so you can contact us to help you or speak to your accountant for this to be accurate. Then employment benefit. Have you received any taxable benefits and expense payments from HMRC? Remember, HMRC is my employer's name for this demonstration. Yours will be another employer's name. If you have to say yes. And if you have, the details that you will need to complete this session will be found on what is called P11D. However, if your employer has payrolled all taxable benefits through their payroll system, you won't have P11D and you won't need to complete this session, and so you will need to indicate no if you fall under that. The next one is, do you wish to claim any employment expenses or capital allowances whilst working for the employer? Again, if you have claimed any job-related expenses that have not been reimbursed by the employer, you need to indicate yes for you to be able to claim that back from HMRC. If your employer has reimbursed you all the job-related expenses, you can't claim it again from HMRC. Expenses such as uniform, use of home as an office expense, professional fees to help you to do your work, those kind of expenses, if you incur the cost yourself and it relates to the job that you're doing and it's allowable, you have to indicate yes and claim that from HMRC. Otherwise, you indicate no. I have indicated no for this demonstration purposes. And the good thing is, throughout the tax return, you will have a choice of deleting a session. If you think the session doesn't really apply to you anymore, you can delete it at the end of the session. You delete it and it will disappear from your return. Then we save and continue. On this page, you will see underpaid tax included in PAYE coding. So if you have previously underpaid tax and that underpaid amount was included in your tax code for 2024-2025 tax year, which is the tax return you're doing, the system will pre-populate it for you to either agree or disagree on the figure. So the system is telling me that for this return, there was nothing included in my 2024-2025 tax code. And so it's saying it's nil. If this figure is correct, you say yes. If this figure is incorrect, you say no. For this is correct, so I'll proceed. If it's no, the system will allow you to enter your own amount there. So for these purposes, I'm going to say yes and continue. This page talks about other debts. If this applies to you, if there were any outstanding debts for previous tax year that were included in your 2024-2025 tax code, indicate it here. If it doesn't, enter 0. I've entered this amount, we save and we continue. This page talks about overpaid tax amount. If at the end of this tax return, the tax system tells you that you pay too much tax, HMRC will want to know how you would want to receive this tax refund. If you want to receive it yourself, indicate yourself. If you want to nominate someone to receive it, you select nominee. If it doesn't even apply to you, say not applicable, and then click on save and continue. On the flip side, this page also asks you if you did not pay enough tax. That will show at the end of this return. If it shows that you paid less amount of tax based on the income that you have received, and this less amount of tax is less than £3,000, HMRC is giving you an option as to how to pay this amount. If you want to pay it through your tax code, you have to say yes to both questions. If you don't want it to be included in your tax code and you want to pay it yourself, you have to say no to both questions. But if you want the tax underpaid to be included in your tax code for 2026-2027, indicate yes. And HMRC will reduce your personal allowance for those tax years that this is going to be included in the tax code. So that's how it works. We don't want it to be included in our tax code. We want to pay it ourselves. So we've indicated no to both questions. Then you save and continue. For this page, it will not apply to most of you, but if it applies to you, you then have to include the figures here, adjustment to tax due amount. If it doesn't, it's optional, so you can leave the whole page blank, those 3 boxes blank, and then save and continue. This is any other information page. Does this return contain provisional figures? If yes, please provide details on the next page. So if this return contains estimated figures, you have to say yes, and then you provide the information on the next page that says 1 of page 2. So the next page will be page 2. But if it doesn't, and all your figures are actual figures as per your P60 or P45 and P11Ds, you don't need to say yes, you have to indicate no. So we've indicated no. We save and we continue. Then you need to check your return to ensure that everything that you've entered so far are accurate and there is nothing that you've missed off this return. So all that you need to do is you go through gradually to ensure that you've entered everything correctly and you don't need to make any changes. That's all that this page is for. Then after reviewing, you click on next to view your tax calculation. Let's do that. Then view your calculation. This is the summary. Total amount due for 2024-2025 nil, plus first payment of account is nil. We don't have any payment. We don't have anything to pay. So all that we are doing is we are looking at the summary of our tax return, and then we save and continue. This will give you pay from all employment, total receive, total income, the tax calculation. If you have any capital gains tax, anything will show here, but everything is showing as nil because the income that we received was below the personal allowance, so we had no tax to pay. So this is the page showing you a summary before you continue. On this page, you can save or print a copy for your file for future references. Whether you want a black and white copy or a colored copy, you can do so. You save it somewhere or print it before you proceed. And then after you have done that, save and continue. On this page is a page that you need to declare and tell HMRC that everything you've done on the return is accurate and perfect, and you are happy to submit it to HMRC. You do the declaration by ticking this checkbox here. Then, once you're happy and ready to submit it to HMRC, all you need to do is click submit and it will be gone to HMRC. This is how you need to complete your self-assessment as an employee. Remember, this is part of a series. And so if you have any other income such as rental income, self-employment income, you need to watch our next video about those. I hope this video has been helpful. If it has, please hit the like button and don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Thank you for watching.